my desk is. Talk about a spontaneous live stream. I haven't told any of you. Just decided it's been a long time. We haven't had a live or video or anything go up on the channel for over a month now. And it's entirely my fault. Because who else's fault can it be? Oh man, this my workspace is a complete disaster. Okay, so it's July, and we haven't done a live stream for quite a while. Haven't put up a video for over a month, as I said. And oh, wow, now there's a shadow from the light. How is the light that's projecting shadow? Wow, that's so weird. Science. Okay, we'll just leave this ring here. We'll put that there. Dave Newman, morning. Good to see you. So yeah, just I'm finally at home on a Saturday with some time to kill before I have to do a few other things, and I'm way overdue for a live stream, way overdue for a video. Sorry, I apologize. Bruiser Battersby, good day, sir. Funny enough, you should pop in. I literally was just in my Google Drive looking to download some clips for the next video, and spontaneously found one from you sitting in a shared drive for the Canadian Carp Society. Great video, by the way, Adam. Both parts to it. They're definitely going to be useful. So thank you for sending those along, sir. Tim, good to see you there. Again, everyone, sorry it's been very quiet on the channel for the past month. It's been kind of a tough stretch for me for the last few weeks. Really struggling with motivation and even just the desire to get my butt out of bed. We've got a couple videos in the pipeline, so that's good. But I've really not been fishing much. Very little, in fact, over the past month. So it's been, like when we were having the summer SSF for the Canadian Carp Society, I put in a lot of hours for the first half, and I was struggling, but I was catching. And by the time it got to the last couple of days, I had 2 full days that I could have gone out fishing. And I woke up to my alarm in the morning, and I couldn't bring myself to care enough to go. And I gave up 2 days of fishing, which is really not like me. And it's just what I've been struggling with lately, trying to deal with the desire to get out, the motivation to go out and fish. Never mind go out and film. It's just the motivation to go out and actually wet a line. It's been really tough for me. But I'm happy to say that I'm making an effort to turn that around. Even though I haven't been fishing much over the past month, I have technically gotten 3 sessions in that have been quite positive for me mentally. So it's bringing a little bit of that desire back and that willingness to get out back. So just the last couple days, I just got back yesterday from 3 days up north for an annual trip that I do with the other directors of the Canadian Carp Society. So it was myself, it was Wayne Smith and Simon Stewart, the man from Carp Kit. The 3 of us have a spot that we go to, which is now the second time we've gone there. And it really is a little bit of paradise. Fishing was difficult, but in the end, Wayne gave Simon and I a complete spanking. He really put on a clinic about getting the bites. Simon really struggled in his spot, which was not the case last year. I really struggled. I did manage a fish. It was really ugly fish. It had something wrong with it, but it fought really hard. I had a goose take out my lines through the night. Simon and I had eating our baits. Wayne wasn't plagued with any of those issues and managed 9 runs and landed 3 fish, one of which was like the last 20 minutes before we left. So the past couple of days have been very good to just get out, recharge the batteries. We had a tornado warning, and I have some footage I'm going to have to go back and look at, but we were watching clouds swirling above our heads, and we were really worried that we'd have to run for cover. We didn't end up doing it. We just hunkered down in the bivvies and rode through the storm. But what a good couple of days that was. Really enjoyed that, and it was with great company. So that was a really, really important trip for me to kind of recharge a little bit of the motivation. Now, prior to that, in the last few weeks, what do we got there? Dave Pendlebury, trying to follow along, doing web edits before work, homie. I don't know if you're answering my text in there or not. That's kind of funny, but good to see you there. So I had 2 sessions before this trip over subsequent weeks that really kind of sparked a little fire for me and got me excited, because I had gone like 2.5 weeks without going out at all, no sessions whatsoever. And like even I normally try to do 1 weekend session and 1 after work session through the week. Couldn't even bring myself to do the after work sessions, just came home and fell asleep. But something I've been wanting to do for really a long time. And this actually goes back probably closer to the area of about 15 years ago. Before I even knew about this Euro style carp fishing, or kind of what we call proper carp fishing now. I had satellite TV, and I had a 24-hour fishing channel, and I discovered match fishing. I started watching the Fishamania tournaments that were televised on that fishing channel, and I was just blown away. Just like with the carp fishing, I was blown away by the equipment. I'd never seen those long poles with the elastic, and these guys sitting on seat boxes using the tiniest of floats. Look at how ridiculously tiny that is. It's like smaller than my fingernail, right? And I've mentioned it before in some of the lives and stuff that I've been wanting to put some match fishing on the channel and try it out. And Dave and I haven't put the time together to actually make that happen yet. We're working on it, just as we're working on the next episode of the breakdown, and we're also working on the kind of the spin-off of the breakdown series, which will be the breakdown revisited, where we go back in and look at try our luck at these spots that we done a previous episode on. So we're still working on all that. It's just scheduling and timing has been really tough. But it seemed that our local, we did have a local match club that I had always intended on going and trying to sit in on a match for, but never did. And it seemed to go through a bit of a restructuring lately. And they've had a number of matches so far this season. They've been having a lot of fun. I've been following the posts. It seems like everybody was enjoying it. Needing to get a fire lit under my ass and get out there, I thought, well, I'll shoot them a message and see if I can get in on one. And sure enough, they were incredibly welcoming, which was great. They let me know what equipment I needed to acquire to be able to attend. They let me know the bait rules and the overall rules. So I met up with them the following week for my first match. And it was at a campground about 40 minutes away from me. And we went to this campground, and out of the list of people that were going to be there, I think 6 of us in the end showed up, some of whom I knew, some of whom I've never met before. So it was great to see Miroslav again. I haven't fished with him in a number of years, so it was really nice to see him. And I got to finally meet some of the match guys, Dennis and Justin, Brian, Dennis and I had met a couple of times in the past, but kind of just in passing. So it was a neat day to meet a few new people and try a completely different style of fishing that I wanted to get involved in a little bit. These short, intense focus kind of sessions, 5-hour sessions where you're really paying attention to every little detail you're doing. And it's not just for carp, it's any of the species that you can catch. And what a blast that was. I was not prepared, and I still had a great time. I was able to kind of adapt what I was doing and, still put up what I think is a respectable weight for my first match. I couldn't get into the carp in that pond, but I did get into the catfish, and I ended up I was catching catfish about that big all day because I lost 2 fish during the event that were a little bit bigger. I think they were the carp, but catfish that were only 5 or 6 inches long, I had enough of them to come up just shy of 8 pounds. So it was a number of fish, and I kept going steady. And, I was proud of it. I didn't finish last. I finished 5th out of 6. And I really had a great time. They were good guys. Like I said, they were very welcoming. And they really just wanted to make sure that everybody was having fun. The cool thing is that some of them were actually using that proper match gear that I had seen on TV so many years before. And I've always followed match fishing and really enjoyed it. There's a number of YouTubers that I follow that I've watched it, but it's always kind of been my dirty little secret habit of watching those videos instead of just carp fishing or things like that. Oh, see, commonly Carpy has popped in. Good to see you there. Haven't seen you in the chat for a while. But yeah, I did that first match, just a one-day thing. Got there nice and early. We did a peg draw. We put in money for the primary pots, and then there was some side pots that made it a little bit more interesting because not everybody puts in for all the pots. So to be able to, everybody puts in the primary ones, but not everybody goes into the side pots. So potentially, if the person who wins the main pots didn't put in on the side pots, you could potentially win like the big fish or the big net prize, which could be a little bit more substantial with like the tiniest of fish, which is what actually ended up happening on the second match that I went to the following week. I managed to squeeze out some time to go do another one, and they had a really neat location, a location they called the Castle. It's basically a homemade canal dug on a property alongside a castle where the owner lands his float plane on his property. I do know the owner through my work connections. I didn't interact with him in this case, but when we showed up, what a neat little venue that is. And let me tell you, that was some tough fishing. This one, we did have a number more. I think we had 11 anglers in total. But it was very tough fishing for everyone. I seem to be plagued by turtles. The very first match, the very first 5 minutes, I hooked and had to unhook about a 25-pound snapping turtle who almost got my fingers. And then the second match, I had a turtle pretty much over my swim the entire time. Dave Newman, who was in the chat, was actually at this match with me, with his friend Peter. And yeah, there was some anglers that came all the way from Toronto down for this one. Now, Justin, who won the first match that I was at, did manage to pull the win out for this second match because he was the one that got the biggest carp. He had a couple of them, actually. I struggled. I really struggled. Dave, next to me, he figured out a pattern to get into some small sunfish right in front of him that I wasn't able to. I could see that they were in front in this shallow spot in front of us. So we were pegged side by side. I was in peg 2. He was in peg 3. And I tried running a float along with a bit of worm or a bit of corn. I could not get these small fish to take. So I pretty much stuck with my method feeder almost the entire day, with the exception of when I had my lunch, I put out just a pop-up. But Dave was able to adapt to find a way with a small enough hook to get those small little sunfish that were in front of us. and he put a few of them in the bag. It came right down to 5 minutes before the very end of the match when I finally connected with a bite. I had bites through the day on the method feeder, but couldn't hook anything. And I finally hooked one in the last 5 minutes, which turned out to be a catfish about that big that weighed 0.02 pounds. I don't want to say it was embarrassing, but I didn't blank. And I think 6 of the anglers out of the 11 blanked because it was a tough day. But being a match, you weigh in what you catch. So I did weigh that 0.02 ounce fish in. And again, this comes down to where the side pots come into play in a very kind of wild cardish way. Dave and I put into the side pots, but the winner, the man that got the bigger carp, I think the biggest one was like just over 9 pounds. He wasn't in the side pots. So it actually came down to Dave and I in the side pots with the tiniest of fish that we had. And it actually came down to, was Dave's biggest sunfish bigger than my 0.02 catfish? And like, this was a fun moment because it was that little bit of friendly competition, a little bit intense, because like, hey, one of us is going to get some money here. And it turns out that Dave's bluegill was 0.18 of a pound. So he beat me. And I think he scored like $100 or something like that. I don't know what it was. Dave, you remember, you scored a good little chunk of dough for that sunfish over my catfish. But that's just how interesting the match aspect can be with the side pots. Great job to Justin who got the carp. He had a good tree to fish to on the far bank. There you go. It's got about $70. So it pretty much covered your gas, the coffee. We went through a cup of coffees at the Tim Hortons before the match started, where we met up, just out of the blue. And so, yeah, that tiny sunfish scored him $70 because we were in the side pots, and I missed out just by that little bit. So it made it a lot of fun. So despite how tough the fishing was, we were in a beautiful location. People were in a good mood. It was positive. A little bit of friendly chatter back and forth along the few pegs that we were in. And, we tried our best for 5 hours, and that was the result. So yeah, it was a really good day. There was the anglers that came down from Toronto. They ended up losing a big fish and landing I think a 6 or 7 pound carp or something like that. They went home with like $250 because they were in the primary pots. Or it was whichever it was, this big fish side pot or something like that. But it did it did really well to kind of keep everybody positive and walk away with another successful match event. So I have to say I'm quite happy to go do some more matches with these guys. And I did talk with them at the end of the last one, just to make sure I could have proper permission. I didn't want to step on any toes, but the next match that I do, I'm not sure when it is yet. Scheduling wise, it could be a little tricky for the next couple of weeks, but the next match that I do, I'm going to set some cameras up, and I am actually going to film myself from my peg for my match, regardless of how crappy I do. So wow, I forgot to turn off notifications on all my systems and everything's beeping. So yeah, I might completely flop and catch nothing. I might have a really small weight. I might knock it out of the park. But either way, we're going to get a video out of my next match with the Match Angling Club of Ontario United. They do have a Facebook page, so feel free to check out the Macou Match Facebook page. It's MACOU, and you'll see that's where the updates for the next upcoming events come, the locations. So far, they've got a couple of really neat locations, and it was a lot of fun. And they will have more matches coming. Everybody's busy. It's that time of the summer where it gets a little bit tricky. People are away, whatnot. Vacation times come into play. But yeah, I'm going to film my next match regardless of how well I do. And it'll be something neat to add to the channel. And then when Dave and I can actually meet up, we're going to have our own matches where we're actually going to do like a 1 hour match, film the whole thing, and we'll see who can win in an hour using just like whips, little float rigs like this. Maybe the method feeder. We'll see. We'll set a set of rules about what tactics we'll use. Maybe we'll do a couple of different ones. Some with just the whip, like the pole like thing. Some with a method feeder. Who knows? But should be interesting. And we've got a number of places we can do these. Some for big fish, some for small fish. But I'm really looking forward to it. It's adding another element to my fishing that's been missing for a while. That is something new, something exciting, a new group of people that are very positive and passionate about what they're doing. So much like the Canadian Carp Society, we've got another group that's kind of growing and building a style of fishing that people just don't know about, for fish that are often not the desired ones. Yeah, we're going after catfish, we're going after shiners, and maybe rudd if we can get them, carp if they're in there. Those are where you're going to get your big weights, panfish. This could be really, really interesting to see this group grow. So if it's something you're interested in, pop over to the MACOU Match Fishing Facebook page, join up and follow along. Maybe you can get in on one or two. So yeah, it's I apologize that I have not been putting out the content that with the schedule that we would normally follow. Again, fighting a few motivation issues, but luckily doing these matches and then this trip this week with Wayne and Simon really did help. So we're getting things back underway. I even just put in an order this morning for a little bit more tackle to go with my match fishing setup, which I'm kind of building and organizing. I've got a couple of rods, one that I use for a light method feeder, one that I use with more of a traditional carp tactic rig, like an inline rig for solid bags and whatnot. Have a very light rod that I use for the floats. And then as Dave and I use them more, I'm going to incorporate the whip into that for some of these venues with the smaller fish. We've got a really cool chair, which is actually out in the van right now, so I can't show you, but it's got a little side tray that comes up. It's got some rod holders pieces on the side. Got my the big long net bags that the match anglers put their fish in, the keep nets. Got those. So yeah, I've built up a little bit of a cool equipment grouping just for match fishing, and I'm really looking forward to doing more. And you'll be able to follow along, see how that journey goes. Now, I did mention that Dave and I have been still working on the breakdown. We have filmed the third one from an incredible location. So I think the last live that you guys would have seen here would have been on Carp Angling Day back on June 17th. That was the last live we did. And I mentioned that we were going to be going to film the third episode of the breakdown in an incredibly remote location, or it seems that way, that we had never tried before, that we found on a whim. I think Dave stumbled across it looking for trout spots. And then when we went and looked at it, it was like, this could be a really cool carp spot with the potential of being able to catch some really big carp. Well, we managed to get down to this location, a kilometer walk from the vehicle, all the way down into this place. And that is special. It's very, very special. We were surrounded by wildlife like we never had been before in other spots. The amount of life in the water when we got there was unreal. And there was a lot of really unique challenges set up for us in this particular challenge, this particular breakdown episode. And I just finished downloading the clips from that session into my computer because I have to start editing. I'm going to be working on that tomorrow, working on the first edit of that breakdown. And my goodness, there's some shots in there that we will not get anywhere else. Yeah, that was an exciting day. It was a difficult day. We were both struck with some challenges, and as the day progressed, some of those challenges became more apparent. But I really am looking forward to getting back to that spot at some point, even if it's only, once or twice before the end of the season. I definitely want to go back and give it another go and try it a slightly different way. But wow, was it cool. It was really cool. And you guys are going to see that soon. I'm going to start working on that tomorrow and get a little bit more of that done tomorrow. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks or so, that video will go live. The 300 video episode that I've mentioned over and over for months now is almost done. Right now, one of the big hiccups I have is that one of our wonderful followers who were kind enough to send in a clip sent it entirely in French, and I'm really struggling to get it translated. So I appreciate it, LP. It's great that you did that, but you stuck me with a little bit of a challenge. So once I get that translated, I just have to film another segment, and we'll be able to put that one together and put that out there for you all to see what some of our longtime followers' favorite clips have been. Even some people right here in the chat have participated in that. And honestly, because I'm not done putting it together, there's still time. If you want to do a little video clip or just send in a comment about what your favorite Angler Files moment is, I'll still take a few clips and throw them in. So we're not out of the deadline area yet. So I see a couple of you in there, like Adam, Dave. In case you guys weren't aware of what we were doing, if you want to just comment on this video afterwards, or send a video of yourself, just talking about what your favorite Angler Files moment has been over the past almost 9.5 years, send it in. We'll throw that in that episode. So yeah, a couple more videos in the bank that we're working on. For those of you who are Canadian Carp Society members, episode 5 of CCS TV, the active editing really has gone into play, and I was actually downloading some more clips of that this morning. So despite getting back from my trip yesterday and having a long, very tiring drive, I think I was up till about 2:30 in the morning, just getting some of the stuff unloaded, cleaning up and getting kind of myself settled. I was right back up at 8 o'clock this morning downloading clips. What do we got there? How does the fish care aspect of proper carp fishing compare to fish care during match fishing? Okay, so to look at the fish care aspect compared to what we're doing at the Canadian Carp Society, it's a new group, so it is a little bit different. And obviously, I want to work and interact with these guys more to enhance the fish care element. Having the keep nets to keep your fish alive that's one of their most important parts. You need that to keep your fish alive, because if a fish is injured, has any injuries or is dead from your match, it's not going to count at all. And obviously we don't want that to happen. Obviously anytime I've seen anybody bringing their mats up, it's all been on really soft grass, or I use my mat while they're in the keep net. The weighing of the fish is something I want to work with them a little bit more in the group. They're following traditional weighing techniques that we've seen in bass tournaments for decades. currently with a laundry basket on a really accurate scale. The guys are being careful putting the fish in. We're watching. I've seen all these fish swim away, so we've not had issues there. But I do think that the fish care can improve. And certainly as the group grows, it will have to, because obviously fish care is something that so many of us are very passionate about. But the only way things like this are going to happen and changes or adjustments are going to be made are if there's more people involved who care about it, like us, Adam. So it is something that on the next match that I'm at, I do want to bring up. I each time I brought my scale, my weigh tripod, and my weigh sling and offered it up for use. But obviously that goes in 2-ounce increments, whereas the scales that they have can go right down to 1/100th of an ounce, hence my 0.02 catfish. So my equipment will be great for fish safety, but not necessarily great for the weighing. So I want to be able to find out a happy medium with them. And I'm going to offer up some options to try and help out with improved fish care. I'm not saying that their fish care is bad at all. They're actually all very conscious of making sure that the fish are looked after, but I do see areas of improvement or for improvement. So the only way to help with that is to get somebody who is passionate about that to be involved, right? Dave Noon, we need to catch bigger fish. Yeah, we do. We definitely need to do that. We can't let Justin catch all the big fish. But again, they have a lot of the equipment there to keep the fish safe. There's a few things that I would personally change. But obviously the only way that's going to change is if I step in and say, okay, look, I have this option. Let's try this and see if it works out better. If it does, great. If not, we revisit it and figure out another way. So hopefully that answers your question, Adam. Fish care is there, but I think I can help improve it. So actually, funny enough, you were brought up in conversation where the match guys actually had seen you do your 1-versus-1 challenge with the Canadian Carp Society. So they knew who you were. And I think you and Ben actually would really enjoy doing these little matches. So you can shoot me a message later if you want to talk about that more. But yeah, fish care is definitely something that's coming into play more and more as we go along. It was a great question, but it kind of derailed my train of thought, and I don't know where I was going. I apologize. How long have we been going? We've been going just over 30 minutes. Yeah, I've almost got through my whole list. I've got through my whole list. Yeah, I have been getting a bit new gear. Like I said, I got some match stuff. I popped into a shop on my way home from my trip yesterday. I had to stop to use some facilities because it was a long drive and I had a lot of iced tea for the trip. But I popped in and I've already got a whip. I've got a 5-meter whip out there that's kind of big. It's kind of old, but I'm excited to use it. And I recently got a 5-meter whip for Dave. Just ordered off some Chinese site where they're incredibly durable, but they're just mass produced like crazy. But I thought, me using a big older one and Dave using more new materials, but it's much lighter. I kind of thought that there was a little bit of it wasn't an even playing field, let's say, where I think the whip that I have is a little bit more robust for bigger fish. His is much lighter for smaller fish, but the action, the play in it's not going to be the same. So while I was poking around in this shop, I was in Decathlon in Burlington. This goes this way. You can see it. They had a bin with a couple of these little 3-meter whips, and it comes with a little pole rig with a tiny float, just like these, but obviously a little cheaper, not as fancy as the nice Drennan ones. So I got 2 of these 3-meter whips. So I think, Dave, Pendlebury, if you're watching. I think when we do our first 1 hour one-on-one challenge, we're both going to use these 3-meter whips because they're going to be the same action, the same length. And I think it makes it a little bit more fair that we're using the exact same whips, given that neither one of us have actually used these before. So that could get more exciting because I just kind of leveled the playing field a little bit more. Yeah, some of the other gear that I've gotten lately, like I said, a lot of it's in the van. Some of it's tucked in the back there as I'm trying to organize it. But the Dave's not here. Yeah. You're going to be saying that when I whoop your ass in our match. How's that? Dave's not here. It'll be like Dave didn't show up. Johnny put all the fish in the keep net. It's how it's going to roll. See that? The smack talk has started already. But yeah, like I said, I got a new chair specifically for my match fishing, which has got some great mud feed on it. The rod holders on the side. I picked up a few Guru rod rests, like one for the front end. We're holding the tip, a nice kind of like tulip-like rod butt rest that really locks it in nice and tightly. The keep nets. So when we do our when I get to do my next match and I film that, I'm going to go over some of that tackle because usually before the match, we have about an hour or hour and a half of bait up time, depending on the venue. Some of the venues, it's only like 30 minutes. Others, it's over an hour. So it'll give me time to set up at the peg, show you some of the equipment we have, how I'm going to be using it, some of the bait I've been using. I've been crushing up a lot of the DT Baits Tiger Nut and Corn feeder boilies, soaking them in the Tiger Nut and Corn liquid, mixing in a little bit of panko, a little bit of oats, just to help kind of work as a binder. And that's been my method mix for my method feeders. I've also been using worm, just a tiny hook attached to the method feeder. So worm has been what's been getting me the catfish. I've been taking the tiny little super fruit and cold water green beach pop-ups, using that with the method feeder. Unfortunately, like I said, I haven't been on the carp. The first match I lost what I believe was 2 carp. Those were on the pop-ups. I've been using sweet corn. Quite often there's a rule of just like 2 cans of sweet corn per match per person. So having some of these little bait restrictions as well has been kind of neat, because you don't want to just throw your whole can of corn out. You might need some for hook baits, or you might need to feed multiple spots to get fish going. So yeah, it's been really cool. So yeah, I've just been kind of acquiring some equipment specifically to fish. I'm fishing lighter lines, smaller hooks, baits I wouldn't normally use. It's a 1 rod only rule with the matches, so it does help put your focus a little bit more direct with just that 1 rod and that one tactic. And yeah, adapting really comes into play. You have to make these decisions quickly. It's not like going out on a big carp session where you're sitting back and relaxed and you're just like, nothing's biting on a pineapple pop-up. I'm going to try banana flavor, or I'm going to try Scopex or something like that. And then you get a bite. This is not relaxed fishing at all, which is what I like about it. It's very intense. To me, anyway, I find. Some of these guys Dave found it probably really relaxing, I'm sure. But, it's probably just because he beat me. But again, I wasn't last. I've caught in both matches, regardless of if you think my weights were worthy of it. I did not finish last. So, yeah. We're going to even the playing field, Dave. And yeah, it's basically the only real change to any equipment I've been getting lately. I did recently get a bait order from Carp Kit. I think I picked up 5 kilos of superfruit boilies to kind of go into my summer and into fall sessions. Picked up some particle mixes to go along with that and complement that well. Just basically some pre-cooked hemp and crushed tiger nuts, things like that. But that's all in the van because I had it on my trip with me. And I really should unload the van. I took out the rods last night. That was it. Oh, I'm out of coffee, really? I know it's that quiet time of year, but how many of you have been out fishing? Who's actually been out fishing, first of all? How well have you been doing? And is anybody else trying something different like I am? Taking on a bit of a new challenge lately? Let's see who's in there. Who wants to step up and let us know what they've been doing? We see that Commonly Carpy has been in there. I don't know who's still on or who's popping in and out, but Commonly Carpy, what have you been up to? Have you been catching any fish lately? Adam, what about you? Dave, probably business as usual for you. Go down and hit the Park Lake, smack out a few dozen fish. Oh, look at that. Mr. Galen from ONT Carpin has just popped up. Last week blanked, and the week before had one, mainly editing footage. Why don't you pop a method feeder in front of the camera and see what that does? You got any? A method feeder and a small pop-up. I'll just bring it up because that's what I've been doing in my matches. I'd like to see what a carp does to that. Dave Pendlebury, blanking my butt off. You were there. Yes, I did manage to pop down on, I think, Tuesday and visit Dave while he was in session at a local spot. And he really should have caught fish. I think they were there. He's doing everything right. He always does everything right. He didn't get your fish. I'm sorry, Dave. But it was good to see you. Good to sit down with you for an hour. Improved carp angling. Hang John went out this AM for a few hours and remembered why I avoid summer fishing in the harbor. You got battered by people, didn't you? People were everywhere, weren't they? Well, I hope you get into some fish. Let's see, Adam. I'm currently fishing my 1 versus 1, blanking pretty hard besides a few decent-sized channel cats. Wow. Interesting. Well, best of luck, Adam. I hope you actually have things turn around for you and you smack it out of the park. ONT Carpin, see what I can do. Yeah, you always got to try something different, Galen, right? Change things up. Dave Pendlebury, I put a boilie on for you. Yeah, because Dave just fishes the same 3 pieces of plastic over and over and over again. Well, if you're getting the same results, you got to change things up, right? So it looks like he changed things up at my request, but got the same results. So I'm sorry, Dave. You can go back to your plastic. It's fine. Good to see you guys popping in there. Yeah, has anybody actually done anything different than the norm? Tried anything out of their comfort zone, whether it be a tactic or anything? Anybody using a different bait that they wouldn't normally use or haven't tried before? ONT Carpin, fishing massive baits. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Double 20 mils, 3 tigers. Oh, wow. I would love to see your underwater footage of how the fish are reacting to baits that big. I'll be honest with you. If you haven't seen Galen's footage, go when you get the chance on YouTube here, look up ONT Carpin and watch it. It's really good stuff. And if he's trying double 20 mils, if those are going to make it into a video, we're going to want to see that. Tim, been trying a straight boilie approach. Has been working really good if there isn't a lot of catfish. Well, that's good. See, I tried some boilies over the last few days on my trip, and it was the boilies that were coming back completely missing. Pop-ups were coming up in half. The crayfish just did me right in. Lots of 10 and 15 pounders slurping them up. Holy. Wow, I'm going to want to see that. Man, my phone is blowing up. Well, I'm glad to see you guys are getting out. I'm glad to see that some of you are having results. Really glad to see that some people are trying something completely different. Dave Newman, all pop-ups. Dave, try all pop downs. See what you get. Spin it up a bit. Take a pop-up or a boilie, hollow it out, put like a rock in it, make it sink even heavier. See what that does. Don't do that, Dave. It's going to be so impractical. Okay, 46 minutes. And I've pretty much gone through my list and then some. Oh, I'm getting all kind of messages here. I'm not going to stay on too long, guys. I do appreciate you all being here, and I'm sorry that I haven't been on more often, but like I said, I've got a few things that I'm working on tomorrow that will get out quite soon. Happy to say that my wife's niece from England is visiting Ontario for the next couple of weeks, and they're in Niagara today. So my son and I might be popping out to go see her and some of the other family I haven't seen in a while. So got to make sure I'm getting time in for family in amongst all this fishing and fishing chatter. Dave Newman, you've had 90 this year. I think you're just above me in numbers this year. I don't think I've cracked 90 yet. I think I'm still in the 80s or so, which is a far cry from the 300 target that I had set for myself for this year. But you know as well as I do, there's a couple of spots we can go to locally that I can up those numbers with 20 or 30 in a session pretty easily. I just have to get the time to go to those spots. And as I mentioned earlier, I haven't been making time to go anywhere. So it's time to turn that around. I got to go get some more carp fishing done, some more match fishing done, crank out some more good videos. I have work to do. I'm going to get it done. And I appreciate that I can just pop up randomly for a live stream over a month after anything has gone up on the channel. I really appreciate that I can do this and all of you are right there ready to go. It really does mean a lot, and that does help with the motivation to know that I can pop up after an absence and you guys are all right there ready to go. I really do appreciate that. A little bit of run theory. I think you mean run therapy never hurts. Is that right? I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. So the next live, I'm going to try and crank one out in August. Fat thumbs. Yeah, I hear you there. Let's see. Let me just bring up my calendar real quick. And take a quick look at August. So our normal run for scheduling of when the next live stream would happen is on August 12th, but I do work that day. So we'll probably bump that by a week, either before or after. I do have some more family events coming up. My calendar is actually quite full for the summer, believe it or not. It's not usually like this. We're the 22nd today. Okay. We're going to get a live stream in August, but I'm hoping to do that one from the bank. So that one could be a complete random. Might be on a Sunday instead of a Saturday. It could be on the 12th in the afternoon. It depends on what the scheduling is for myself that day. But we also have that long weekend in August coming up the week prior. So, yeah, we're going to try and do the August live stream from the bank as best I can, as long as scheduling allows. I'm not sure where. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing match style fishing, maybe just outside of a match parameters, or if I'm going to be carp fishing. Could be out with my son. Not sure, but August, let's do a live from the bank and try and get somebody out there with me. And yeah, we've got Breakdown episode 3, which by far to me is the best breakdown episode we've done yet. Dave and I have been slowly developing the idea of the Breakdown Revisited, where we're going to go back and check out some of these spots. We could start that anytime. And I do believe we've already talked about location for episode 4. It's very close to where Dave was actually fishing on Tuesday when I went to see him. So we do have things in the works. Scheduling is what's making it tricky. But again, the whole purpose of the Breakdown series is for us to be able to make these around our work schedules and our family schedules. And that's, I think, what makes them so great, is that we just don't know when the other one's there or what's going on. Episode 3 is very unique, and we explain it in the video. But we fished together for episode 3 for safety reasons, for where we were. We just had to make sure that we were kind of following some precautions, given where we were and what the conditions were. I don't think I would have wanted to do a whole day there by myself. We'll just put it that way. Because if something goes wrong, nobody's going to know you're there. It's that hidden. It really is. So, yeah, for safety reasons, we did episode 3 together. But I think that came out to be one of the best that we're going to see out of the Breakdown series for the first while. Certainly out of the first run this year. But who knows? We could top it very easily somewhere else. But I don't think we're going to see a more stunning venue than that. That it was really unique. It was really interesting. So I have like pretty much, I have about 7 hours tomorrow morning set aside just for editing that video. I'm getting up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I have until I think noon where I'm working on just that video tomorrow. And then I have some other things to do in the afternoon. So that one's going to be coming out soon. Again, for those of you who are a member of the Canadian Carp Society, CCS TV 5 is on the way. Like I said, I was downloading a lot of clips for that today, and I'm a little bit more excited about that one now than I have been, just because I went back and looked at some of the clips we already have for it, and realized they're better than I thought they were initially. They were really good. So we've got some cool stuff coming along for that. For those of you who aren't a member of the Canadian Carp Society, why not? We got members all over the world. Join. It's a great resource. It's a great community. We have rules in place to make sure that it's a positive environment, not like the rest of social media. So if you're not a member, join. It costs you a couple bucks. You get to join. You get to be around a good community of people. And, if you're one of those people that's been doing this a long time, maybe you could be the next mentor for somebody who's up and coming. It's all about sharing the experience and making things better for one another in this sport that we're trying to help grow here in Canada. So yeah, please, if you haven't joined, join. If you have joined, cool stuff coming along the line. Also, if you guys are at all interested in kind of this small but developing match scene that is being built here in our area, well, in my area in Niagara, check out the Match Angling Club of Ontario United Facebook page, and give them a look. See what they're up to. See if it suits something you want to try, and just follow along with their updates as to when the next events are going to be, where they're going to be, what's involved. There are some rules. There is some equipment you need to be able to participate. If you don't have the equipment, just make it clear. And there may be some people who have extras, like the keep nets and such, that you might be able to use. It's exactly what Dave Newman here and his friend Peter did. They were able to interact, found out that there was some equipment that they could borrow, and they were able to compete in the match for that day. So please check those guys out as well. It's nice. It would be really nice to see them to keep growing, so that that could become something else that we have going for us for these, species and styles of fishing that people here just really don't know about. It's kind of exciting. It's a very exciting time right now to see these groups growing and building something out of nothing, right? It just wasn't here before. So yeah, again, as always, thank you so much for all of you being here. I really appreciate it. Again, I can't say this enough. To have popped in after about 5 weeks away from doing anything on this channel, barely posting on Instagram, almost not at all posting on Facebook, to see all of you right there at the ready without any warning, that means a lot. And it really does help motivate me more to get this fire lit under my ass and get back in action on this. So thank you so much, all of you, for being there, being a part of this journey through the Angler Files. Dave and I have a lot to do coming up. I have a lot to do coming up. But luckily for us, we have some groups now that are giving us the opportunities to do what we enjoy. So let's keep promoting these groups and building them up, and do the same with your fellow anglers. Build them up. Galen's crushing it. I have no hesitation in saying that he's doing a great job with what he's doing, both with his own channel and his work with the Canadian Carp Society. Dave Newman's always spreading the good word when he's down on the bank to get people interested in what he's doing with carp fishing. So, all you guys are doing positive things for me. I hope I can get back on track with getting some videos out to do some positive things for you, because you guys are the ones that are helping me make it happen. Yeah, let's just stay on the bank. Let's keep fishing. Let's get some stuff done, get some fish in, some weights up, some PBs smashed, and some smiles all around. Overall, thank you so much. Again, great to see you. Galen, Tim, Dave, Adam, commonly Carpe. I saw you pop in for a while there earlier. Thank you all for showing up and being there. Nathan, really appreciate it. I'm glad you're out fishing right now, or at least have been. Don't forget to knock out a few tourists if they're in your way, because fishing comes first and your gear is precious. And I also want to see the newspaper clippings. So yeah, thank you all. Really appreciate it. I will see you guys for sure in August. We're going to do an August live stream from the bank. I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen. Breakdown episode 3. I'm working on it tomorrow. It's coming down. The 300 episode celebration. There's still time because I am dragging my feet getting it done. Thanks LP for making me have it to translate a whole video in French, and I don't speak French. But if you want to get some clips in, again, throw a comment on this video after. Those of you who have access, throw me a private message. Tim was one of those ones that gave me a message in one of the videos about what his favorite moment was. So if you don't want to do the video of yourself, you can happily do that, and I will add that into the list. Yeah, I'm a little bit pumped, to be honest with you, and I'm even more pumped now than when I started this video. So thank you all for that. I'm going to go get all the gear from the last couple of days out of my van into the house, drying out and hopefully not stinking. And yeah, get some family time in this afternoon before I get back to work on the fishing front. So again, thank you all. We will see you again soon. That's it for now. I hit the wrong button. I haven't ended it yet. I'm sorry. I hit the wrong button and I'm trying to figure out what I did. Thanks, Nathan. Great to see you, as always. Oh, I found it. Okay, we're good. Bye, all.